अव्यक्तोऽयमचिन्त्योऽयम् अविकार्योऽयमुच्यते तस्मादेवं विदित्वैनं नानुशोचितुमर्हसि अथ चैनं नित्यजातं नित्यं वा मन्यसे मृतं तथापि त्वं महाबाहो नैवं शोचितुमर्हसि जातस्य हि ध्रुवो मृत्युः ध्रुवं जन्म मृतस्य च तस्मादपरिहार्येथे न त्वं शोचितुमर्हसि अव्यक्तादीनि भूतानि व्यक्तमध्यानि भारत अव्यक्तनिधनान्येव तत्र का परिदेवना आश्चर्यवत् पश्यति कश्चिदेनम् आश्चर्यवत् वदति तथैव चान्यः आश्चर्यवच्चैनमन्यः शृणोति श्रुत्वाप्येनं वेद न चैव कश्चित्.
Okay, so the last verse we did, number 24, we talked about the Atma being nitya, sarvagata, sthanu, and sanatana. So all these words, I just wanted to clarify one more point. These are not the qualities of Atma. They are not talking about the qualities. These are the pointer towards Atma. So, which is different, So if I say I am Indian, I am, this tall, this heavy, all these are my properties. But when we talk about Atma here, we are talking about the pointer which is pointing towards that Atma, because it doesn't have any qualities. So just, I wanted to bring that up. It's important to keep that in mind, that we are not talking about the gunas here.
No, Chap.
Sorry. Okay. Now let's go to the next one. It says avyakta ayam, achintyo ayam. Ayam is this, the one we were talking about, which is the Atma or the Dehi or Shari or whatever we want to call it at this time. Its nature is avyakta. Nature means it is avyakta, achintya, avikarya. So these are the three things that we are going to talk about here, which is also pointer to that Atma alone. So when we say it is avyakta, avyakta means it is unmanifest. Manifest is something that we can perceive through senses. So anything that is available for our senses, whether it is sound, whether it is form, it is name, or it is words that we can hear, if it is something that we can touch, smell, taste, whatever. So it is not available through our senses. Avyakto ayam, that Atma is not available through it is not vyakta. Vyakta means which can be through pratyaksha, any ways that we can experience it. It is not available for that. It is not available as a pratyaksha object. So it cannot be objectified. That's what it means. And it is ayam. Ayam means this. And then it says achintyoyam. Okay, so this question may come, this thought may come, okay, you know what, I can't experience it, but I can think about it, I can think about some complex things. So if it is not available as an object for my senses, I can actually, perceive it as some concept. This is no, it is not even available as a concept. It is achintya. And why is it achintya? No way to think about it. Anyone? So what can you think about? Just, give me any concepts, right? So just throwing some words around. So it says Fibonacci series or something, which is a concept, a mathematical concept, or some, neurological thing that Shekharji can talk about. Point here is that anything that we think about, we always have a prior experience, or we have a prior experience that is being modified here. So we are familiar with numbers. So we can say, okay, numbers arranged in this way is Fibonacci series. I'm just giving some example. But point here is that you cannot think of something that you have no reference of. If we just pick a word that nobody has even heard of, then you can't think about it because it doesn't have any way to conceptualize it. It will just be some random word. So for even for meditation, when you say, okay, meditate on nothingness, it's a very hard concept because you cannot. Nothing is not something that you can objectify. So same way, which is actually the pramata, which is the subject of all our thought, the one which is because of which all thoughts are possible. We have no way of experiencing that. That's what it means. So, achintyoya, that means it is unthinkable. It is not something that is in our preview of conceptualization. That's so that, and then a question can come up. But we do study about it, So we study in our Shastras. You have been talking about it from 11th verse to 25th verse. We have been explaining what Atma is with different set of pointers. So why can't we conceptualize it? Because we are not conceptualizing Atma. We are actually conceptualizing its nature as the subject. It is, even in Shastras, even in Vedanta, we are not studying about Atma. We are studying about Atma Brahma Aikyam, the oneness of Atma with Brahman. It is the nature of Atma is same as that of Brahman. Or we can say it is the more I explain it, the more we will get lost. Point is, it is achintya, that you cannot explain. But we have to understand, though it is aprameya, that means it is not available for understanding as an object, but it is the subject to understand everything else. So it is the main subject. In English sentence, we have a subject and a verb and an object. So I play soccer. So I is always constant. Play and soccer. So all these are objectifiable things, but I is never objectifiable. You have to think about it. Achintyoyam. That means it is. So yeah.
Rajiv, greetings everyone.
Yeah.
One way I relate to what you're saying is that, as you said, this Atma, which we also can refer to as Chaitanya Shakti, the innate ability to know something, whatever, since it's the source of, as you just were saying, of all concepts, it itself cannot be the subject of a concept because it allows conceptuality or non-conceptuality to even possible. It's like one example to think of is that, let's say, when we hear sound, then we hear specific sounds. They arise, like my voice, and it stops. But the capacity to listen or hear is continuous, meaning that ground from which hearing is even possible, that is not a conceptual thing, you know, although you can talk about specific sounds that we hear. That's one way I relate to what you're saying, that it's first is
Actually, sorry, go ahead.
experiential, right? Meaning Atma, the usko Atma ko janna, or the knowledge of Atma is experiential. Well, concept is concept, right? Meaning it's just a thought, you know, also.
Actually, I'll go one step further on that. Even it is not experiential. The reason is experience is also in the purview of mind and senses. So it is I who is experiencing. So I cannot experience itself. You see my point here? Like the fire cannot burn itself, right? Fire is fire. So water cannot wet itself. Same way, you cannot experience the one because of which all experiences are happening. It
Right.
is
So let's,
something
yeah,
that is
no,
why it is achintya.
I understand what you mean.
So
Unfortunately, they're not proper words to refer to what that direct.
see, that is why Bhagwan has put achintyam. It is achintyam ayam, that you cannot conceptualize in any way. Even as a, when we say even pramata also is a conceptualization of it. So we want to avoid any conceptualization. At least bear with me for now. This is what it is, you know. And avikarya. Avikarya means which has no modification possible. Modification is also part of Prakriti. Anything that gets modified is actually part of Prakriti only. So when it is not part of Prakriti, it is unmodifiable. That means it is not going to be any cause or any effect. So that means it is beyond any cause and effect relationship. Okay. Tasmat. Now from this point onwards, for next 4 verses, Bhagwan is trying to say, why are you worried? You know, why? What is this nanu shochitu? This worry is unfounded. If you understand Atma as you, see, when we talk about Atma, it is, we are talking about as a concept, right? Atma somewhere, you know, Brij ki Atma, Shekhar ji ki Atma, Rukla ki Atma. So we have actually given it a name and a shape, you know. But here we are talking about that which is actually Atma of all the Atma, you know. So it is the ultimate Atma, the substratum of everything, because of which all things exist. The possibility of the existence is with Atma only, you know. Okay, so Tasmat. Therefore, evam viditvainam, once you understand this, viditvainam means once you grasp this understanding that it is, what are you worried about then? Nanu shochitu marasi, you know, you should not worry about it anyway, you know. So this, once you understand this Atma to be avyakta, achintya, and avikaro. So that means it is not in the purview of our senses. It cannot be pratyaksha. It cannot be conceptualized. It cannot be thought of. When we think of something, it is always object. Remember that. We always objectify any thought. Even the most difficult concept, we have to conceptualize it. We have to put some boundaries around it. You know, even if we have to, you know, prove the E is equal to MC square, then E is equal to MC square has to have some boundary. There is nothing that you can have, you can conceptualize that doesn't have the limitations. All right. And avikarya, that means it is changeless. So whatever it is nitya, thanu, sanatana, and sarvagata. All these things actually are pointed here in different words. That's what it is. So therefore, it is, therefore, you know, that is, we are all of that. See, it is us. They are talking about that I in me, the I in all of us. This is kisliye chinta kar rahe ho? This I is sarvagata, nitya. So they are not going to be gone. So at that point, Krishna was like, Krishna giving his, the most ultimate gyan, Atma Gyan, which is called the Sankhya Gyan, to Arjuna. And he saw Arjuna was lost. He didn't get it. He was looking blankly at Bhagwan. What are you talking about? He says, that's not the question. I was talking about my grandfather and my teacher, and you started giving me Atma Gyan. That's not my problem. My dukh is nothing to do with Atma. आत्मा ठीक है अपनी जगह पे, लेकिन मेरे तो दादाजी मर रहे हैं, मेरे my teacher is going to die because of me. I am worried about that part. Don't you get that? You are diverting the question here. I asked you a simple question and you have taken me to some other realm altogether. And said, okay, बच्चे, चलो तुम्हारे लेवल पे आके बात करते हैं.
तो घोड़ा चतुर उस समय का चल रहा था ऐसा.
ये कतर है ना, या घोड़ा बोला या चतुर बोला. Here Bhagwan is now, he says, okay, you know what, I have not misunderstood your problem. You have misunderstood my answer. So let me actually go in to answer your question. If you consider yourself as something not according to the what Bhagwan is talking about, which is Bhagwan is going to explain from the dharmic point of view, from the society point of view, from the karma point of view, which is duty point of view, from the need of the hour point of view. So हर तरह से भगवान अर्जुन को समझाते हैं इसमें. This is, if you think that Atma is continuously born and die, if that is your, thinking right now, ये आत्मा जो है ये तो मर जाएगी, ऐसा सोचते हो तुम, which is unvedantic, but still, this is called the Purva Paksha or the other opponent's view. If you think that this Atma will be born and will die, then also you should not worry. So he says, Atha chainam nitya jatam, nitya va manyase mritam. If you think this Atma, that I was talking about, is nitya jatam, that means it is continuously born and then it dies. There is like, it is born for a period and then it dies. Nitya va manyase mritam. That means it is dying. This is what most people think, that this Atma is going to die. Tathapi tvam mahabaho naivam shochitum arhasi. Now he'll give you reasoning why that is the case, So if you think Atma is continuously born and also dying, then also you should not grieve. Why is that? Tathapi, grieving is not justified. Now there are two ways to look at what this dying and being born and dying mean. The one is that when the body is born, Atma comes in, so that is one way to look at it. And when the body dies, that Atma is gone. So this Atma has a life of the body. So when you are born, the Atma is there. When you die, the Atma is dead. That is one way. The other is that when a thought arises or when the contact with senses and mind happens, when you become conscious of yourself, that time there is the consciousness is born. This is called the Kshanik Vigyan. This is also a ideology or a philosophy that is available. So sometimes in Buddhism also they have that Kshanik Vigyan, which is the consciousness is born and it also dies. It is not continuous. It is not like that Atma which is on which all this play is happening, it is just a matter of like a chemical reaction that the subtle and the gross body, they have something called, it has a conscious effect somehow, and when it happens, you become aware of everything around you. So that is the another way to look at it. But this is what Vedantic view. Bhagwan is saying, okay, if you don't buy my story, you don't buy the Vedantic philosophy, you want to go with the Kshanik Vigyan or some other thought process, then also it is not something you should worry about. Atha chainam nitya jatam. It's born, it is dying. Tathapi tom mahabaho naivam shochitu marhasi. Then also you should not worry. And this naivam shochitu marhasi is said in 2-3 different ways. Okay, why? He says, Jatasya hi dhruvo mrityuhu. Jatasya means whatever is born is going to die. This is something that is, we don't have to have a book on that. Everybody sees that on the daily basis. Jatasya hi dhruvo mrityuhu. Dhruvo means certain. That means the one that is a changeless fact that you cannot deny. So that Jatasya hi dhruvo mrityu, that means it's a guaranteed. When whatever is born will die. And dhruvam janma mritasya cha, and whatever dies is born again. Tasmad apariharyarthe na tvam shochitu marhasi. That means tasmad, therefore, apariharyarthe. Apariharyarthe means let me see what which is unavoidable. That means you cannot escape that truth. This is how it will always be. Whatever is born will die. It is not a rule that I have made. It is the nature's rule, So jatasya hi dhruvam mrityu, dhruvam janma mritasya cha. And whatever is dying will also born again. Now that can be something that we can talk about, Why is he saying whatever dies is also born again? So there are 2 ways to look at it. One is we have Shastra Praman that, okay, there is a continuity of life. Some experiences, people say, okay, I was born this way or that way, or so there is a continuity of this life. The other way to look at it is, even in this life, there is continuous death happening, whether at a physical cell level, the cells are dying, new cells are being born, They have to give space for the new things to happen. The plants will come, you put in some vegetable garden, so they will give, they will be born with a little seed. It will grow to be a plant, which means the seed has died to become a sapling. Sapling has died to become a plant. Plant is now giving birth to new vegetables or flowers or whatever. And then they die and become the soil again, which actually will become the plant one more time. The seed is a little bit, one little grain, which actually uses the soil to become that plant. So the soil, the water, the sun, all these things have helped to become that. So continuously there is you can see that, if there is a land somewhere and you water it, new plants come in, So there is, birth is constant, birth and death are constant thing, no matter what it is, whether it is in plant, whether it is in, fishes or the animals or everywhere, there is a continuous the life and death goes on. So once we see that, tasmad apariharyarthi, that means it is not beyond, it is beyond anybody's control. That means it is going to happen. It is the nature of things. This is how the Prakriti works. So once we understand that, natvam shochitu marasi, natvam, now he says, like more closely, oh my dear, don't worry about it now. You know, even if you think, tumhare dadaji, your grandfather, your teacher, they are also part of this birth and death, you know, so they will also go, no matter whether you kill them or, you know, they die in natural death, it is going to happen and they will be born again. So understand, with this understanding, you should not worry. So, okay. These are, you know, very easy to understand concepts. Now he says, okay, even if you feel that it is not an Atma, you know, I don't buy this Atma thing. I think only the bodies matter, you know. Avyakta dini bhutani. Avyakta means that which is unmanifest. It was not there. See, how does this life happen? It was not there before, and it will not be there after death. So before birth, it is not available, avyakta, and then it appears for a short time, and then again it is not there after death. So it is like a avyakta dini bhutani, vyakta madhyani bharata. It appears in the middle, a little bit, you know. If you look at the whole span of the timeline, it is just a small grain in the timeline. Yes, sir.
Did you cover 27 already? You're on 28, right?
Didn't I cover that? Jatasya hi dhruvo mrityu. Dhruvam janma mritasya. Okay. Maybe I didn't. No, I did. It is fast one. I did go through it fast, you know. Jatasya hi dhruvo mrityu. That means Jatasya is whatever is born is going to die. And dhruvam janma mritasya cha. And whatever is dead is also going to be reborn. So the death and birth are cyclic.
But see, that's the part I wanted to ask you about. Ki,
okay.
I understand ki whatever is born will perish, wo to hai, impermanent. But whatever dies will be reborn. Usme kaise vishwas hai?
Okay, so that is what I was telling about. That there are 2-3 ways to look at it. One is, okay, Shastra says so, which is fine. We can keep Shastras aside for now. But if you see the plant life, you see the whether it is the life as a individual person, as a Vyashti, even if you don't believe that, you can always say that the Prakriti is constantly rejuvenating itself with the newer life forms, right? One dies, other one is born. So you can think about it that way also. So even if it is not that particular one, it is in some other form. So, you know, it is like think of the wave and the ocean. So one wave is dying, the other wave is born. It may not be the same particular wave, but it is still a wave, right? So think about it that way. Think about it from the samashti point of view, not from the Vyashti point of view. Yes.
Sir, if there was no rebirth, then progress would not happen.
That too.
Because the prior experience is needed for progress to occur. So if, let's say you had a universe, there was no rebirth, the chances of that universe progressing would be actually very low.
No, I think Bridges' point was that how can you say whatever that particular, the one that died is going to
Yeah,
be born.
because that's transfer of knowledge to the new form. So then it becomes some more it building blocks of the, like iterations we do, and then it progresses in that sense. But if everything is coming new every time, single time, then it won't progress.
But Deepak ji, my fear of death arises from this notion that when my death actually happens, I don't know what will happen after that. अब बोलते तो हैं सभी कि rebirth होगा, लेकिन मुझे क्या पता?
But sir, that is the excellent chance of getting a brand new car.
That requires faith. That requires faith. You're saying you have faith in the Shastras and the Pramans.
No, I'm talking practical, sir. Our body is decaying like an old Morris Minor, and we are looking for the Ferrari that will come in the new body. So it's better to ride the Ferrari than the Morris Minor,
But you have faith. You have faith that you'll acquire a new body, Deepak ji.
Oh yeah, because that's how it's all. Yeah, Rajiv ji. Sorry.
Forget faith. This is not about faith at all. This is about what we experience. So Bhagwan initially said you are that which is sarvagataha, nitya, sanatana, all these things he said. But Arjuna didn't get it because he's talking about that one Atma, one or Brahman or whatever we want to call it, Jivi, that is you. You means me and you, all of us. They are actually that, but because of our adhyasa, our wrong understanding, we have assumed this body to be me. His worry was that this body will die. His worry was not about Atma. So Bhagwan explained that why are you worrying? This is Atma. They are Atma too. They are also the undestructible. Nitya, Sarvagata, Sthanu, all these qualities belong to them as well. So why are you worried? So he didn't understand and said, no, I am talking about the body. Even if it is body, that is also constantly changing. That is going through continuous modifications. They are going to go through death. They are going to be born again in one form or the other. Whether you believe it or not, it doesn't matter. Here, Bhagwan is actually in the 28th verse, Bhagwan says, think about it this way. It wasn't there before. It existed for a time and then it disappears, right? Even if you believe that, point here is not to explain the concept. Point here is to get rid of his worry. Bhagwan said, किस लिए चिंता कर रहे हो तुम? The one that you are worrying about, Atma, then it is not worth worrying about. Even if you think it is a continuous changing body, then also it is not worth worrying about. That is the point we are trying to bring here. बाकी जो श्रद्धा वगैरह की बात है वो भी आएगी बाद में, but let's focus on the point here.
So just for argument's sake, I want to ask this question. Why do we want to worry about rebirth? Don't we want to be free? So let's say we're not reborn. Nothing like that. Because we're free. But suppose we do get reborn. We've done enough practice of so many different things which will come in handy as part of the evolution that Deepak was talking about. So either way, it's a win-win. There is no scope of worry. I feel.
That's the whole point. The next from 26 to 28 is all about किस लिए चिंता कर रहे हो तुम? नानु शोचितो मरसी, न त्वं शोचितो मरसी. And then Bhagwan says, we were on the 28th verse. Avyakta dini bhutani. Bhutani means, at this point, let's understand it as the, we can say, a thing, forget about an individual, but any Bhuta is jiva. In any form, this, it only appears for a short time, right? It was not there before. A kid is born, right? It was not there. So a new kid is born. There was no prior existence of it. It is just born, and then it will live for a short time, and then it goes, right? So that short time, the Bhuta, Vyakta Madhyani Bharata, O Bharata, O great one, O enlightened one. Here, it only appears for a short time. All these bodies that you are seeing are there for a short time only. They are not there permanently. If you think like that also, then avyakta nidhanam, that means they are going to be avyakta. That means they will be unmanifest after that. So the manifestation is a very short period. Tatra ka paridevana. Paridevana means, why are you lamenting on that? So don't lament on something that is available now and will not. It wasn't available. It is available. It is gone. There were few good examples given by Shankaracharya in his commentary. So from 11 to 25, Bhagwan is talking about consciousness, the way we understand Satchitaran Sarup. Then 26, 27, he's talking about the conditioned consciousness, what we call as Jiva. And then in 28, he's talking basically matter only. If you think it is the matter, then why worry about it also? In either case, whether you believe it, whatever you believe in, it is not a fight of this is right and that is wrong. It is just conceptually, Bhagwan is trying to explain to Krishna, to Arjuna, that it is not worth worrying about. Ka paridevana. Ka paridevana means, what are you worrying about? What are you lamenting about at this point? So this is very systematic thinking. This is not see, that is why Bhagwad Gita is not a dogmatic way of explaining things. It is not telling us this is the way, you should follow this path. There is no such thing. He is trying to logically come to those conclusions, So it is very step-by-step thinking. It is क्योंकि भगवान जो है अपना कृष्ण भगवान, he is the master lawyer, he knows how to put arguments in a very sequential way. So first he tried to explain in the highest level, okay, this is how the Atma works, which never dies, never born. So these bodies will come and go, it doesn't matter, Then he says, okay, if you don't buy that, even if it is body, then also it is not worth worrying about. That's the main, the key takeaway for this one is, that. Okay, one more example I was, so suppose you go to sleep, right? And then you see a dream in which you actually see, you go to a family picnic or something, you meet your old friend, and then you wake up, right? What is the reality of that dream? It wasn't there before. Then you went into a different state. It appeared, the dream appeared to us that, okay, something happened, either it was fun or it was sorrowful, doesn't matter. So, but you experience something and then you wake up. So there was nothing before, a dream appeared and dream is gone, and then you are, a memory of that dream remains. Now, point here is, how much value do you give to it? Suppose you were having too much fun in that dream. Do you cry when you wake up? that, okay, you know what? Mera sundar sapna bhi. It is not something you cry about, because you know that it is unreal. Same way, if you see the birth and death as a one long dream, you shouldn't worry about it either. So that is one way that Bhagwan is trying to say. So unmanifest in the beginning, before, then there is manifestation, madhyani, in the center, in the middle, and then again unmanifest at the end, avyakta, so it is gone. So life is unmanifest, manifest, unmanifest. That's how life is, right? Continuous. Whether we see a childhood has died to become a young adult has died to become adult has died to become a mature guy, a mature lady, has, died to become an old person has gone and permanently disappeared. So this body is actually going through several changes. It is continuously dying and being born. So if you think that way we will see that life is just continuous change. That's all. So the death is something that happens continuously. So they say that whatever was not there, it is in Mandukya Karika, where Bhagwan is trying to explain what is mithya. He says whatever is not there before and appears for some time and then it is gone, that appearance, it is not there means it is untruth, asat. After death, it is also asat. But in the middle, it is experienced. So consider it as asat also. But since we don't want to consider it asat, it is okay. Consider it as mithya. That means it just appears. All the experiences are coming and going, right? There is nothing continuous about it. There is a start of an experience, there is an end of an experience, whether it is a good experience or a bad experience. But there is so we can say all the experiences are external to I. Remember that, because there is no experience in I, because there is no change possible in I. For experience, change has to happen. That is how we become aware of that. Even for time to be experienced, you have to have an event 1 and event 2. Then there is a time. That is why this the difference between two events is second. It's first event, second. So something has to happen to experience time also. When nothing is experienced, there is no experience of time, like in deep sleep. Okay. So it is all the problems arise from one thought. At least this is true for Arjuna, and it is true for us also. Aham esham and mam ete. मतलब ये मेरे हैं और मैं इनका हूं. That thought is something that we give rise to in our own mind. There is no reality to that. Okay, think about it. This is something to meditate on. That how much reality we give to relationship. Aham esham mam ete. मैं इनका हूं, ये मेरे हैं. ये thought. That is what was cause of his problems. This is the cause of his suffering. This is cause of our suffering also. मेरा छूट जाने पर मुझे दुख होता है. right? अगर मेरा नहीं था तो दुख काहे का? If somebody dies in Botswana, sad, but that's okay. You know, we don't think much about it. Only when we have somebody close that we think ye mere hai, then only we have this dukha, right? Okay. Another thing to think about is what part of that other is mine. सोचने वाली बात है. So all these last three verses are not the Vedantic point of view, but Bhagavan said, okay, even if you don't buy what I was telling you before, you think of this body continuously dying and being born, then also you should not worry about it. And just no grieving over from any standpoint. So Bhagavan has given three different standpoints here. And for all standpoints, it doesn't make sense to grieve about. So now he says, ka parived, ka paridevana. Paridevana means lamenting. So your lamenting is not, what do you call it, justified. So you wake up out of your lamenting here. Like, you know, Bhagavan sees that Arjuna still has a blank face. You know, he didn't get it. So Bhagavan says, okay, I understand. You know, you are not the only one. Most people don't get it. Either ways, you know, because we are so attached to our own, this false identity, what was it? Aham esham mama ete, that, you know, मैं और मेरे में इतने अच्छे से फंसे हुए हैं कि we cannot think beyond it. You know, that is our problem. You know, so Bhagavan says, okay, you are not the only one. You know, people don't get it easily. It is a very difficult concept to grasp. So he uses the word, the next verse is Ascharyavat pashyati kashchidenam. The word Ascharya, you know, Charyati iti Ascharya. Charyati. You know, we say movement. This has come from Ascharya, by the way. Charyati means the one which is that experience which cannot be explained any other way. But you know, that experience is something that he's talking about. That Ascharya Ascharyavat pashyati kashchidenam. So those who have who see this, you know, when they hear about it, pashyati here is a word for all kind of sensually understanding this or sensually experiencing it. That they say, wow, if there is something like that, Atma, never heard of it. What is that? You know, they think about it, they talk about it with Ascharya. So we will talk about this Ascharya portion next time, because I think we are close to 8 o'clock. But if you have any question, I think this is a very interesting portion of the Gita. But you guys had, you know, good points. But any other question that we can undertake, or we can do the conclusion and then continue our discussion.
Yeah, I have a couple of questions, but I can wait if you want to do the conclusion, or maybe others have questions, you know. So.
Yeah, we can continue after this conclusion. So let's conclude, and then we can close the recording. Okay, you want to do that?
Purnamadah Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate. Shanti Shanti Shanti.